Welcome to the SABERTOOTH Beaver channel. Today I'm going to tell you about building this awesome workbench with my kids. It was a really fun project. Is this the same thing as dual wielding? Knee pad, knees, knee pad, knees. She's improved her technique using knee pads. Alright, so we've got these 4 sheets mounted. We countersunk everything so that when we put the French cleats on it, those won't be in the way. Regardless of where we end up putting those. Now we're going to mount a shelf up above this that should be able to hold 1,000 pounds or more. But that's a good start. And we're going to put our benches in front of it. Got the cutouts for where the sockets are, or the plugs. And here we go on the next step. So for this section of the project, we were cutting out all the support beams for the shelves. So my son cut all of the hanger boards and the cross beams, and that's what he just put on the floor there. And then we were working on putting up the main supports that went through the plywood and into the wall beams on the back panel there. And that was giving us our main weight support on the back wall. And every project, of course, we end up in the attic putting things away and getting things out. So. Then we had to install all of the joists and the hanger boards. Got those all hung up. But it really gets strong if you get everything mounted in well. The instructions we used were on stanley.com. But I'm starting to think you could probably put a couple 1,000 pounds up there and still have it be strong enough. Sometimes we need more help in the shop. By feline friends. Well, now we have all the cross beams put on with the angle joints, and I think that thing's about as solid as it's going to get. I figure. Whoop whoop. I see no movement. Nice. No. So at this point we're just finishing up the cross beams and the hanger joints, getting everything nice and solid, putting in the angle iron that holds everything together. Then we stained it. That was like an immediate be done and stained. Put the floor in for each side. So I had 14 feet to deal with, so that's two 7-foot sections, and it's about 16 inches between each cross beam of the hanger beams. That gave me space so that the smaller storage boxes will fit up there just fine, and I can get them down between each hanger board. This is where it paid to have a skinny son who could get up there and put all the top screws in for me.
Hey MTV, welcome to my crib. This is the interior of the shelving unit. Perfect place to hide away from a nagging dad.
Except you have a cell phone. There is no hiding.
That can be turned off. What you think about? Alright, 24 inches. That's the full crawl speed height. any shorter than that, and I'm gonna have to start doing the army crawl, butt wiggle.
Alligator.
Alligator, thank you.
Dragging your tail. And my wife and Benny out giving us some moral support. I'm not the only person that she kisses. So at this point we had everything done for that shelf, and we were starting to put things up into the attic and up onto the shelf, trying to get organized to make some space to build the second workbench, and I knocked the camera over. And sometimes we stop and play basketball in the garage. So at this point we had a bunch of stuff organized, and we were able to put all that up on the shelf, and we started working on the tool holder. That's the box on top of the workbench there. And I got a Wagner ladder. That's the ladder in the middle there. It's a pedestal ladder. It makes it real easy to get up that high, get things up and down from there. So it took quite a bit of computing to figure out how we were going to set up that tool holder. It's 14 feet across. I have two 7-foot sections there. And as that box came together, I was really getting excited to be able to hang all the tools back up, because I really don't like my garage being a mess. So I put my son to work staining the tool holder. So each of those slots is 1.5 inches wide, and the boxes are a few inches tall, so you can fit a battery up into each one. At this point I started putting the French cleats above the left-hand workbench. So I'm measuring those out, so they have about a 3.5 inch gap between each one. Each cleat was a 6-inch board that I cut, and then I cut them right down the middle at a 45-degree angle, so that gave me 2 cleats for each cut. And I put a screw in about every 6 inches. So those things aren't going anywhere now. And then I stained them all with a natural stain. Why can't we get any work done, Benny? Because you're always hanging around. You want to eat the toolbox. I see how it is. And away with the toolbox. You ready to work? The toolbox. Don't eat the toolbox. So this is my first attempt at a paper towel holder. And as you can see, I made the cleat and the front panel. It's really shallow in the center, and the cleat was mounting really high above the shaft is mounting really high above it. So when you put that on the cleat and put a little bit of down pressure on it, it wants to pop off. It's not holding very good at all. And then it fell down and cracked itself. So that shape did not work very well. So what I found was you want to lower the center of gravity way below it. So this time I made it so it'll cover 2 cleats. Locks on that way. And when you go pulling on this, it's not going anywhere. So it appears that my duck dog, my bird dog here, has been giving lessons to my cat here, because the cat just came in with the lazuli bunting in his mouth. And it appears to be unhurt. But I'm letting it catch its breath for a second. I'm not squeezing it. That was breathing like that when I took it out of the cat's mouth. Let's see if we can let it go here. Alright, but I'm going to put you on the bird feeder. Okay, here we go. Oop. Freedom. For the banks of lights, I basically set up LEDs that can change their color. But I like the amber color, so these are all set to amber. That flips on each bank of 4. And there's 4 banks on the whole workbench. It just really lights it up well. You can see everything going on here. So that's what I did for the light banks. And then those wires are run down into the main power strips. And the power strips are on their own French cleats, so they can be moved around if you want to. Pretty happy with how that turned out. Then I put this power charger on a big French cleat. I got my bits here. Just drilled a French cleat onto the back of that, so that holds that in place. This is a small shelf built as a French cleat, and some other small shelves just for holding different things, whatever I decide to put on those. And then I built a French cleat holder for nitrile gloves. So a box just slides into there. Whenever that runs out, you can pop the box out, put another box in. And that's on a French cleat. Hammer holders. They don't pop out very well. I might have to redesign those. One for my torch. Then the couple I'm probably going to end up redoing are the ones for the screwdrivers and for the nut drivers. Now I'm realizing they really need to have a lip that goes over this piece to make it steady. So I'm not super happy with how that one turned out, but it works for now. I'll change that out later. Same with these, they need more of a lip down the front of it to work right. So I've just learned that in the process. Another shelf here for my levels. Then a couple of fun ones. Built this one for the shears, for the shop shears. Built this one to hold my blades. It has to have the one that has the notch here for those to work on this. Built another French cleat for tape measures. That one turned out pretty good. Another one that's just a simple box. And then inside of that box I put cups to hold the pens and pencils, chalk, and whatever else I end up sticking in there. Little shelf for the labeler, another shelf for sandpaper, and on the back of the workbenches I wanted them flush up against the back there so the crap can't fall back behind here, and I made them just big enough that I could put stuff that had like measuring long measuring things. So I have some stuff on top of there. This one I'm not real happy with either. It just doesn't hold them in a very secure way, so I'm going to have to redesign that one too, and if you're not careful it pops in and doesn't look as neat. So that one I might redo too. But I'm very pleased with the tool holders and how that whole section turned out. It's just very solid. And then of course this side, more shelves for just keeping stuff on. So I've had several workbenches through the years. My first one was in my bedroom as a kid where I used to build airplane models. When we bought this house about 18 years ago, we put in a pegboard set of workbenches, and that served us really well, and decided when my kids were little I'd build them a little tiny workbench and they got to work there. But then my kids got big and now they need a bigger space to work, and now my son has found it his joy in life to mess with me and change where tools are. You can see here where he has traded 2 of the spots for the nut drivers just to drive me crazy, and then I know he's been there. But if you'd like this build, I hope you'll like and subscribe. Hope you'll leave some questions and comments below. And if you'd like to join us on this journey and see more builds that we do as a family, I'd love to have you, and look forward to showing you more things that we've built.